Okay, this video is important. Let's get right into it. And keep in mind they're changing my voice because they're jealous and they're gay and they're inbred European royals and they're racist Jewish supremacists and so on and so forth. And they don't like the fact that I'm telling the truth, and they're not. In Proverbs 19, we see in verse 5, it says, "A false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will not go free." In verse 8, it says, "The one who gets wisdom loves life. The one who cherishes understanding will soon prosper." A false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will perish. That's verse 9. So verse 9 is nearly identical to verse 5. So it's saying the people who aren't honest enough to obey God through me, Proverbs 16:10, the divine verdicts is with me, Proverbs 16:12, the throne is established in righteousness and justice, that they're going to go to hell. In verse 10 it says, "It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury, how much more for a slave to rule over princes." And Christ says anyone who sins is a slave to sin, as a character in the story in the New Testament. So these people are a slave to the sin of cheating me out of my right to lead, and a whole lot of other sins. And like King Charles, the king of Saudi Arabia, king of Jordan, on and on and on, they're all cheating me out of my right to lead and trying to put themselves above me in the minds of people. And they're trying to rule over me. It says, it is not fitting. So they're lying by their actions. They're telling you to do something that God is 100% against. That's why 2 verses later it says, "A king's rage is like the roar of a lion, but his favor is like the dew on grass." A foolish child is a father's ruin, and a quarrelsome wife is like the constant dripping of a leaky roof. So we see in Revelation 18, it says the prostitute is ruined, right? She's drunk off the blood of the saints, drunk, right? The cup is Jerusalem. The cup is also said to be Babylon. Okay, there's a bowl in Zechariah where they sprinkle the corners of the altar. And in Revelation it says their fire is hurled down from the altar. So we go to verse 16. It says, "Whoever keeps commandments," and that includes the chain of command, "keeps their life. Whoever shows contempt for their ways will die." Verse 18, "Discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death," their spiritual death, right? In the New Testament it says the spirit is everything, the flesh means nothing. Going down to verse 28, "A corrupt witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked gulps down evil. Penalties are prepared for mockers and beatings for the backs of fools." And Proverbs goes on and on about discipline and wisdom and justice and righteousness and insight and sense and discernment. Verse 18, for example, "Discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death," right? Discipline, right? Love wisdom, be disciplined, practice justice, don't mock at justice. When you don't practice justice because your actions speak louder than your words, you're mocking justice. And that's also what these chapters are saying. It says that even children are known by their actions. So is their conduct really upright? So when we go to Proverbs 20, where it continues those last 2 verses in Proverbs 19, it says, "Wine is a mocker and beer is a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise." So if you look at it in terms of a nerd pretending to be a martial artist because they know the ideal man is the top martial artist. Martial arts are life paths. And I'm the top martial artist. Martial is marital scramble, and I Christ and the bridegroom. Okay, if you think that an MMA fighter who can easily be outmaneuvered by someone who's very serious about martial arts, okay, struck down, stabbed to death, struck in the neck, struck in ways that transcend MMA rules. For people who are surgical fighters, right? Surgical strikes are superior to brute force. You get some kind of brute force striking slow and angry, and you get a surgical strike who strikes in the neck and the groin and the eyes and the spine, he's done real quickly, just like that. Tries to take him down, exposes his spine, he's done. And so on and so forth. So they're being led astray by the falsehood of MMA fighting tactics because they're not the pinnacle of martial arts. Can they beat someone who's an untrained fighter who's just a brute? Quite often, yes. But are they any match for the top martial arts ever possible as a surgical striker? No. Faster and master, Godspeed, light speed, fasting. The word spar is like the word soar. Spar, it's spirit, to spear something, the spirit. So wine is a mocker and beer is a brawler. So they're drunk off the blood of the saints. and the senseless violence, MMA fighting, right? Brute force, the brute beast. The Bible talks about brute beast, and the word beast is also beta scrambled. So they're led astray by a beta nerd frat mocker, European guy who pretends to be something in public and smiles behind the scenes. Yes, I think we fooled them, Charles, kind of thing, right? They're led astray by these ideas, by these groups, by these types. So it says, wine is a mocker and beer is a brawler. Whoever's led astray by them is not wise. A king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him forfeit their lives. And the devil is said to be a roaring lion, and the Lion of Judah is said to be a lion. Well, now verse 8. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he winnows out evil with his eyes. So how do I see things, right? What is the reality of the situation? My falcon's view. The sun and the moon, the right and the left eye. So what happens when there's those punishments in Revelation? The sun is struck, the sun is darkened. There's a bowl poured on the sun and it scorches people with fire. The moon is struck. The moon is underneath the feet of the woman who's clothed with the sun. And so on and so forth. So what it's saying, like in Revelation 20, is the wicked are striking each other like dumbasses. They're leading each other astray. They're going to hell. Look at how people are complete bitches these days. Way out of touch with what the smart thing to do is. They're not even smart enough to rally to the top martial arts ever possible, even though I'm in California, the most populated state, in one of the most populated countries in the world, the fourth biggest economy in the world. 39 million people here. All of them, except for me and my parents, and something to be said about my brothers, are basically fucking idiots. Okay? And when people pretend that they're doing the right thing, they're not helping them. Say for the protesters, for example, when the protesters are encouraging each other to not use their head, to not organize for a specific plan, when they're following the unions, they're following the states, they're not using their head. They're following cults and corporations and China and Russia and America and all kinds of idiots. The CIA are very, very much involved in that stuff. They're not using their heads. So when they encourage each other and say, hey, you look cool. Hey, this is great. Hey, throw another this, that, and the other thing at them. Okay, they're not helping them. When I say, hey, you're following the devil, and that's fucking retarded. Stop being a dumb bitch, okay? Whether they're offended or not, I'm the one who's helping them. And that's why the corporations have them wearing yellow, because it's hidden in plain view what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to follow the Son of God, Psalm 19. The Son, the symbol of the bridegroom, the champion. Psalm 18, God trains my hands for battle. Malachi, the Son in righteousness. Revelation 22:16, the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star, in its truest explanation and interpretation is the sun. Then there's an occult interpretation where the morning star is said to be Lucifer, and Venus, Aphrodite, where you get hermaphroditus, right? Gender neutral. But the right wing is also gender neutral. Look at those conservatives in the military, for example. Their muscles are like saggy. They're low down. Whenever you see someone going low mass with it, with no higher cause, that's Satanism. That's one of many forms. The nerd, the tall guy. Look at Lucifer in the TV series, for example. Tall, kind of European-like nerd. They happen to make him kind of Jewish, more Jewish-like than a lot of these tall Europeans. Okay. Look at the devil in his depictions. Big, strong guy, right? Demon. Demons, big, strong. Low to the ground, right? Earth huggers. Now again, if you have a higher, the flesh means nothing unless you don't have a higher cause. Then that's who you are, right? That's all you are is your flesh, right? And so it is with a short person. There's a difference between a shorter gentleman with the heart of a giant and a pipsqueak fucking pussy. Okay? And that's the devil, the cigarette smoking devil, and he's a short depiction like Cupid or something. When God is love, not the sniveling Greco-Roman Cupid. The serpent, snake deity, who in it's called Cupid and Psyche, or something like that. There's one of these stories where Cupid is said to be a serpent by the oracle, and she's right. Because false conceptions of love, no matter how much you like them, how much you're used to them, how many generations you come from it, is serpent, fake love. It's Satanism.